And who were the burglars? They were all veterans of the Bay of Pigs. They all were connected to the CIA in these circles around H.W. Bush again. And these guys, and E. Howard Hunt, who was an acolyte of Dulles.
From back when,
yes,
that's right.
It's the same crew. You see, the Kennedy assassination and Watergate are totally linked. And so Watergate is just another takedown. It's a coup against another president. But what they do is they're trying to frame Richard Nixon, and so they go in there with these guys. And what do? They have two high-level CIA officers running the operation, E. Howard Hunt and James McCord. And James McCord, you know what he does? He's an expert at break-ins. You know what he does? He goes, they're already inside the building. He puts tape on the doors in the basement. And so there was no reason to do that because you only put tape on the doors when someone on the outside needs to get in, but they're already in.
Right.
Puts the tape on the door. And you know what you do in a burglary? You put the tape vertically so that nobody can see it. He puts it horizontally. And, of course, any security guard, even the most uninspired, seeing tape on a door will be curious. This security guard was so incurious, he sees the tape, he takes it off the door, and he goes away, and McCord goes over and puts the tape back again. Now, you want to tell me these guys were involved in a high-level effort that they wanted to succeed, or did they want to get caught?
But Richard Nixon was guilty of the cover-up, right?
Well, not really. Again, if you study a lot of these tapes that are not well known, Richard Nixon didn't know anything about any of this until several weeks before John Dean flipped to the other side and became a witness for the prosecution.
Right.
And Dean goes into him and he says, there are some things I haven't told you. And the reason he says that is because Dean knew about these things. According to Liddy and some of these other people, John Dean was telling them to go into the Watergate in the first place. Now, what is a junior lawyer in the White House who almost never meets with the president? How is he authorized to get people to go in and essentially do those kinds of things?
I can't answer that. 808810, the number. We'll get your phone calls as soon as we come back. Russ Baker, my guest. The book Family of Secrets. I'm Pat Thurston, and this is KGO. Good morning, I'm Pat Thurston. Russ Baker is my guest. His book is Family of Secrets. And let's go to the phones and get some phone calls. Let's talk to Peter in San Jose. Peter, hi. Welcome to KGO. You're on with Russ Baker. Go ahead.
Hi. I wanted to ask your guest, and it's going to sound like a contentious question, but it's not.
Okay.
But what does he mean by secrets? Because if everything is, has the properties of a conspiracy behind it, which means veiled intent. How can you ascertain motive and reliability? And again, I'm not being contentious. I tend to believe what he's saying, but it also suggests that there's no way to do anything about it because it sounds like there's governments within governments, and it almost sounds like a natural selection. That's how you would want things to be if you wanted to perpetuate, some organization that felt threatened. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
The only way that these people are able to maintain their power is because we don't know about this stuff. It's not that we can't know about it. It's partly the failure of the news media. It's the failure of academia. I can tell you, I'd love to go on college campuses and talk about this. I'd love Family of Secrets to be assigned by history and political science professors, but most of them, I think, won't do it because they're scared of this stuff. But until we start educating people about this, nothing can change. But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of us out there, honest citizens that want a good government and want a country that they're proud of, and a fairly small number of people. And by the way, I don't use the term conspiracy because the problem with that is it's got that kind of woo-woo quality to it. And this is not the occult. I mean, we're talking about how power works. I don't know, wherever you work you're in a corporation, it could be a non-profit or whatever, there are always power struggles going on behind the scenes. Very typically, we're not what we say we are. You see those ads and your bank says, we love you, we care about you. Well, they don't. That's not what the truth is.
I think we realize that now.
That's not what the truth is, but that's what they say. And it's not just government, it's everything is that way. There's just deceit runs through so many things. But I think that the solution, the disinfectant is sunlight.
Yeah.
And it's us getting informed. We need to read. Family of Secrets. I mean, just a tiny, tiny fraction of the American population, or even the population of the Bay Area, has ever even heard of this book. And until we get people armed with information, nothing can change. But I do believe, and I'm an optimist, that with information, good things result.
Can I just, we have not spent a lot of time talking about the book itself and how it's been received. Gore Vidal is quoted on the front of the book, one of the most important books of the past 10 years, according to Gore Vidal. Dan Rather on the back, a tour de force. Family of Secrets has made me rethink even those events I witnessed with my own eyes. Bill Moyers, Russ Baker's work stands out for its fierce independence, fact-based reporting, and concern for what matters most to our democracy. Excuse me. A lot of us look to Russ to tell us what we didn't know. Roger Morris, who's the author of Richard Milhouse Nixon and Partners in Power, the Clintons and Their America, said shocking in its disclosures, elegantly crafted, and faultlessly measured in its judgments. And the San Diego Union Tribune says Baker is a man on a mission, desperate to stop the methods of stealth and manipulation that reflect a deeper ill, the American public's increasingly tenuous hold upon the levers of its own democracy. And we'll be right back. I'm Pat Thurston with Russ Baker, and this is KGO News Talk 810. Good morning. I'm Pat Thurston. Russ Baker is my guest. His book is Family of Secrets, The Bush Dynasty, America's Invisible Government, and the Hidden History of the Last 50 Years. I know we haven't gotten into George W. Bush yet. Can I convince you to stay for the last hour of the show?
Happy to do it. I'm wide awake.
This is just remarkable that you have been so generous with your time. So since we've only got a few minutes left before we get into another aspect here, let's go back to the phones. And I think Mike is calling kind of pertinent to what our last caller was discussing. Mike's calling from Hayward. Hey, Mike, welcome to KGO.
I'm your greatest fan. Hey, Russ, and thank you. Hey, Russ, how do they continually keep the minions from fighting each other? How does this work that they can have us all arguing over Democrat and Republican when we actually have a Democratic Congress, Senate, and House, but yet we still can't move forward? I mean, they've got us in a hold. And one of the additional things is, what can you talk about Cuba? Why do we have such an angst against Cuba and we can't fix it, but yet we work with China and we owe them money? Like, China's our pimp right now.
Oh, they're both excellent questions.
I like it. China's our pimp.
As regards the first question, if I understand it correctly, why can't we do anything about this if with the changes that have taken place in the presidency and in Congress and so forth? There are a lot of different problems here. I'll tell you one. I met with had a cup of coffee with one of the more powerful members of the Senate leadership, a good person, I think an honest person, who had not read the book. I summarized it for him, and he said, one of the problems, we don't know these things. He said, we don't have time to read books. And, that sounds sort of shocking, but the fact is they're on such a crazy treadmill. If you see these hearings going on until late at night, the rushed votes, they're almost kind of like soldiers, on the battlefield. And we're expecting...
And fundraising, that takes a tremendous amount of their time.
Oh my gosh. And we're expecting these people to sort of have any kind of wisdom and historical perspective, and they don't have it. They really don't have it. So that's a big problem. It's also that they are just struggling with trying to sort of stay in office and to be able to effectuate, I'm not one of those people who says that everybody who runs for office is bad or everybody who gets elected is bad. There are loads of good people there. I'm sure there are plenty of people from here in the Bay Area and the House delegation who are very fine individuals, but it's a struggle, to get enough numbers together and so on. So I think that in a sense they're sort of powerless, you might say. But it's also because there are all these distractions. The American media always focuses on those kind of things.
And I have to cut you off there because we're going to be cut off for network news. We'll come back with Russ Baker. The book again is Family of Secrets, The Bush Dynasty, America's